So today we're going to start our new unit, and this unit is in geometry, which is exciting because it kind of shakes things up a little bit. And what we're going to do today is we're going to be going over exponents. Okay, we're going to be going over exponents. Exponents are something you've been introduced to before. So this is kind of hopefully just a refresher of what exponents are. We're going to start off with some vocab. So the first thing is power. And a power are numbers using an exponent and a base. Okay, using an exponent and a base. A base is the common factor in a power. And then an exponent is the number of times sorry, that got kind of close to each other. The number of times the base is used as a factor. So these are our vocab words that we're going to be using. So power, base, exponent, that's what we're going to be referring to. Sorry, my allergies are really getting to me. Okay, so like what do all those words actually mean? Let's say I have this here and this here. So this is a big number and then this little number in the corner. So just going over those vocab words that we just talked about, this little number that's up here, this is called the exponent. And the exponent is the number of times that I'm going to be multiplying the base to itself. Okay, the big number, the regular number, that's my base. Okay, so my base is 2, my exponent is 4. That means that I'm taking my base and I'm multiplying it 4 times to itself. So it looks like this. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, this has 4 factors now in it. And that's the same thing as 2 to the 4th. And then if I was going to evaluate this, which basically means simplify it down, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16. So 2 to the 4th is equivalent to 16. That's exponents. I'm hoping that feels familiar because that should have been introduced prior to this course. Now, again, just reviewing some basic stuff as we get ready to move on. The next thing we're going to just review quickly is order of operations. Order of operations. And when we take a look at this, we are referring to what we call as GEMDAS. So what does GEMDAS mean or stand for? G is standing for grouping. So when we get to a problem, the first thing we're going to do is always look to our grouping symbols. Because we are moving up in math, we have more than just parentheses now. So we have parentheses. That's the main one we normally think of. We could have brackets. And we could also have braces. Braces are the squiggle brackets, the squiggly ones. So any of these represent grouping symbols. And when I have a grouping symbol, that's where I'm going to start. The next thing I'm going to look for are exponents. And I'm going to simplify those by evaluating them. This part is what I think is really important. Oh, wrote that not correctly. Left to right. So remember, when we are reading in English, we read from left to right. And so when we are solving math, we're going to solve math the same way, going from the left side of the problem through to the right side of the problem. So these are interchangeable. This is multiply and divide. Oh, I should say or, sorry. Or divide. Okay, so as I'm reading left to right, it's whichever one is coming first, multiplying or dividing, right? Left to right order. And this is add or subtract. And same thing here. This is looking at left to right order. Okay. So one other quick thing to write down that I want to go ahead and make sure we note is when we are looking at exponents, the exponent only belongs to what it touches. Meaning if it's touching only the number, then it only goes with the number. It does not go with the sign in front. If it's touching a parenthesis, it goes with everything inside that parenthesis. That's important to kind of understand this concept, because if we are squaring, you know, quadrupling, whatever, to the 5th power things, and we have negatives, we need to be able to differentiate between whether it's asking us to raise a negative number to a power or a positive number. Okay, so just remember the exponent only belongs to what it touches. We're going to do this practice problem. So 4 minus 9 plus 1 squared over 5 plus 2 times 6. So I like to do this systematically and do a step at a time to ensure that I don't miss something. So I'm going to start by simplifying with this, what's inside my parentheses, and then I rewrite the rest of the problem. So I have 4 minus, this is now 10 squared over 5 plus 2 times 6. Next thing I need to do is I need to square this. So I have 4 minus 10 squared would be 10 times 10, which is 100, divided by 5 plus 2 times 6. Now I'm going to simplify this division. So I have 4 minus 20 plus 2 times 6. I'm going to simplify this multiplication. So I have 4 minus 20 plus, that makes 12. Now I'm reading from left to right. 4 minus 20, negative 16 plus 12. This makes negative 4. Okay, looking at another example over here. Let's say I have 3 plus 4 squared minus 2 times 10. First thing I need to do is simplify my exponent. So I have 3 plus 4 squared. 4 times 4 makes 16 minus 2 times 10. Again, going from left to right, multiplication. So 3 plus 16 minus 20. 3 and 16 makes 19 minus 20, negative 1. Whoop, sorry about that. There you go. Okay, should feel really good, like we know how to do this. The only other example I'm going to give is like, let's say I am raising a fraction to a power. So let's say I have something that looks like this. Evaluate negative 2/3 to the 4th. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to think about my integer rules. So I have a negative being raised to the 4th power. That means I have 4 negatives being multiplied together. If I have an even number of negatives, then I know my answer has to turn positive. So that's the first thing that I need to kind of just keep in mind. The next thing is that this power actually gets distributed to both parts of the fraction here. So what I'm looking at is a negative 2 to the 4th over 3 to the 4th. This and this are the same thing. Now, that might still be hard for us to wrap our heads around. So I want to remind you that when solving, you can always write things out in expanded form. So negative 2/3 to the 4th looks like this. Negative 2/3 times negative 2/3 times negative 2/3 times negative 2/3. Okay, the 4th tells me how many times I'm writing this factor. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I did that. Then I'm going to look at negative 2 times negative 2 makes 4. 4 times negative 2 makes negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 2 makes 16. And then down here, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3 is 81. So just a reminder, you can always write it out in expanded form in order to help you visualize what's happening. Okay, so that's kind of our quick recap of exponents. Today we're going to be working on just order of operations to practice our skills.